We can open up the July 30th, 2013 Planning Board meeting. It's being recorded by our Director Robin and for LCAT. Is there anybody else recording it? If so, state your name and affiliation. All right, that being said, we'll move on. You guys are the first up. St. Paul's Landscaping Plan.
Absolutely.
Come and entertain us, please. Time to give out spare money?
No.
Yes. Those are the bank envelopes.
We're supposed to fill those.
You've been working for the church too long.
They'd be empty. They're completely empty at the moment.
All right, so this is a new updated planning plan between yourself and the neighbors on Brayburn.
Yeah, what ended up happening is, if I cover your microphone, is that going to affect it?
Yeah, you can cover it. Thank you.
This is the original plan that you had seen. This is the original site plan that was submitted, and this was the original site plan that was being built off of. The trees were removed in the back of the property, and in the interim, what ended up happening is, as of our last meeting, my name is Ray Casella.
Thank you.
Oh, thank you.
You
I
just read my
apologize, I
mind,
should have asked
Ray.
that.
Ray Casella, I'm an architect for the diocese, and I represent St. Paul the Apostle and the Diocese of Springfield. This is David Payne. He's a registered landscape architect, and he also is works for the diocese for many projects. And what David did is, he came in, looked at the back of the site, and spoke with the powers that be, and came up with a buffer to come across the back of the property to block the view and to hopefully have the trees grow at a reasonable pace. So what we did is David created a plan that will be supplemental to our plan set, and I brought David's plan. I know you have your board, which might be easier to look at, it's smaller and a little bit more attractive.
Okay.
So there's the new accessory building and the end of the property, and basically this is a line of giant green arborvitae.
Those are ones that grow exponentially quite a bit, is that, I think?
Yes,
They do.
they're fast.
They do.
The green
Foot,
giant.
2 foot a year, something like that?
Yes.
Okay.
Everybody knows arborvitaes. This is a particular, here's a picture of one. So these are going to be 6 to 7 footers
To begin with?
to begin with.
Okay.
They're planted 10 feet apart.
Okay.
So they won't be initially a complete buffer, but in a short period of time they will, because they can grow 25 feet wide
Okay.
in time. So they'll grow a couple of feet high and probably equal to that. So they eventually could be 50 feet tall.
Okay. I guess 10-foot spacing, is that makes sense to you guys? I would ask you and Ron.
On that size, because of how quick they're going to expand actually sideways, that makes sense.
Yeah, 5 foot spread on something like that is going to be...
I didn't want to plant them
It'd be too
closer,
close.
they'd just be too
Absolutely.
close.
Okay.
This is one of the neighbors, if you could see what you were just talking
Good, yeah,
about.
why don't we...
Want to take a look?
Just so you can see, he just showed everything, so he can see the tree. Yep, no.
Anywhere, right around here if you want. This is David Payne, he's the diocesan landscape
Chris
architect.
Bertelli.
Nice to meet you.
Yeah, and your name for the record?
Chris Bertelli.
And your address?
Property.
2 Athens Street.
Okay, thank you.
So you're one of these neighbors here?
I think
Yes.
you're...
He's right over in that corner there.
I'm right here.
Yeah, right there.
Okay, so what we have now is there going to be a row of 38 green giant arborvitae trees, which are a particular variety that grow fast and wide and big. And they'll eventually be close to 50 feet tall.
Wow.
So they're going to be planted 10 feet apart. Their initial size is 6 to 7 feet,
Mhm.
but they're probably going to grow a couple of feet a year. So in a short period of time, you're going to have at least a breadth-wise complete screen, and within 5 or 10 years, you're going to have a 20-foot tree,
Okay.
and up from there. So typically, this was the idea, just to create kind of a wall, kind of
Yes.
create a complete evergreen buffer,
Right.
and achieve that as quickly as possible at a reasonable cost. So.
All right, do you have an anticipation of when you will put these in? Is it this fall, next spring?
Probably be next spring, because they're not going to have the site work completed until
Okay.
late this year, probably November, December, so their plants probably will not
Okay.
take well, so I would imagine they would do that. You're the expert on planting schedule, but probably next spring is when...
It's probably better. better to plant next spring?
Because they'll be doing their final seeding and everything. They'll rough it out this fall probably and stabilize, but they'll want to do the plantings in the spring so things survive.
Okay.
Sometimes if you plant in the fall, it's too late in the fall, the trees don't get enough moisture, they dry out in the winter, and
Okay.
Ralph would know that. And then you get some die-off, so.
Okay.
Yeah, they're
They have a
coming,
better-
they're not gonna, I mean, they're coming within before the project is fully complete. Before they have their final sign off, that's part of that'll be part of my checklist, so that won't be the next spring.
Okay.
Their goal is right now, because we're a little bit later in getting started, is getting the shell and everything up. And their anticipated finish time for the building is next April, February, March, April, somewhere in there. And then at that point, we'll have a break in the weather. As soon as they can get outside, they'll do the final. I assume they want to get their paving and things like that done this year, but
I would imagine, yeah.
it's going to be like we always are, fighting with the plants at the end of the year to get the paving in and get our grading in. We know that we're not going to get grass to take in November, end of November. So with that being said, we'll have to regrade and touch up in the spring and then plant everything in the spring. If we were back a month or two, we would be happy, but there's no way I think we're going to have a satisfactory result where we can say, look, this is guaranteed not to be dead
Right.
in the spring, so.
Okay, understand.
So it seems like this is a much better plan than having like 100 arborvitaes that
Yes.
grow, 8, 10 feet tall
Oh,
versus
definitely.
these that are gonna actually.
These will be
wall.
substantial trees. I mean, if you've seen them, they're not that many planted around here, but they're much bigger than your normal hedge arborvitae that you see typically planted around here. They're just, you know, they're going to be as big as pine trees, spruce trees.
Mhm.
So, but grow faster. And they're not the type of arborvitae that has multiple stems that split apart, so they're a good, fast-growing tree.
Good.
All right, anybody on this side have any questions?
Sounds like a good plan to me. I think it's obviously would be better if the trees hadn't come down, but this is, I think, the best solution I've seen, so, yeah.
Ralph?
I noticed the drainage swale is pretty close in there. Are we concerned at all with that size tree and the drainage?
Hopefully
Is
it'll
there
help
gonna-
us pulling up a little water out of our drainage swell, so it might actually work to the better. We are not going to change the grade around it because the water can run between them. We're going to follow the topography with these.
Okay.
Yes, they'll do a little bit of a mound up around the base. I think David would reply to
Yeah,
that.
as long as they're not sitting in water.
Right,
Yeah.
right. These are going to be out of
That's
the
on the
water a
outside.
bit.
It rolls up in that corner.
Yeah, it rolls
Yeah,
up
okay.
in the corner. And what we did is we didn't want to really change the topography on the back because a lot of that property now, that they filled a lot of that back where those new houses are, and we're going to be pushing water onto the site. So we didn't want to put a mound up and then cut off the property.
Right.
So that would have just made a lake behind it. So I think David was very sensitive to getting the fastest growing tree, the widest growing tree that would handle our New England conditions. And that swale will, hopefully that swale will only be used in a year like this and not be, in the standard form, that should not be an issue. What these are designed for is our regular stormwater runoff, not the
Right.
huge 2-inch of rain in one
Right.
afternoon like we've been experiencing. At that point, there will always be standing water, but there would have been standing water back there anyway at that point. And if the trees pull water up out of the ground and help themselves, that's good for us. That's pretty sandy soil for the top 3 or 4 feet up there. Although I will say that when the survey, when the Clarence Welty, the PhD, did the soil test out there, they said there's standing water at -4 feet out there, which is surprising.
That is surprising.
I was shocked because that's why we raised our building up as high as we could. They were adamant about keeping the footings dry. And for us to find standing water at -4 in that sand was an eye-opener. So yes, there is water, it's moving under there. This is a springtime condition when he was out there doing his drilling. But as you know, he's probably one of the foremost soils people in the country. And if he says there's water at -4, who are we to argue? And that's the main reason why we raised the building, did our drainage the way we did. And I think if he's up, you're up higher than our ground, that we're sloping up.
It's coming up, so
Yep.
we're going
So-
to put them just a few feet, couple feet off the property line, so they'll grow out,
Yeah.
you know, onto your land, but
but
It's all open there.
It's all open and, hack away at what has to happen. And when they're 40 feet high, at that point, I think it'll be better than what we had now, because right now we did have pine, but there was also some big scrub and things of that nature in there. Yes, it'll probably be a decade or so before we get there, but in the end, I think that this is a better result than a fence, which is only going to be 7 or 8 feet high and will never get
Very
higher.
high, right?
So this has a potential to be a 4 or 5-story building of greenery.
The only question I have with these types of trees, do you mind if I ask a question?
Go right ahead.
Them being close to the property line, like how wide do they expand? Are they gonna expand like several feet into the property line?
More than several feet.
Because the pool is 7 feet off the property line the way it's supposed to be.
What
And-
pool?
On his property, he must have a pool on his property. I would
A
imagine.
swimming pool? Oh, is
Yeah.
it over there or here?
It's
Right.
it's a corner, it's
How
right
far
there,
away
about
are you
here.
proposing to put them to the line?
Well,
And I have a retaining wall.
You were spacing them 10 feet.
This
so-
shows 5 feet off the line.
Would it make sense to maybe move them another foot or two? And I realize you're stuck in that corner,
Do you want to say 7 feet off the property
Yeah.
line?
because that'll maybe just give everybody a
And
little bit more
you can
room.
prune the backside.
I mean, does that make more
So if
sense?
they start
Yeah.
encroaching on an area, you can prune them back.
Okay.
So you're not going to kill the tree.
Right.
You want them as relatively close, but you can cut them back. And
We can say 7 and between 5 and 7, and
Yeah, I
the
think
guy
that-
will make sure that when it comes near, that's not a problem.
I mean, I realize you're gonna have to probably jog them a little bit to get around that retention basin, but I don't think that's the end of the world.
No, I think this is the overall schematic, and I think the overall intention is to make the wall, if they move them a few inches either way, I don't think it's going to really affect the plan, and I don't think it's going to affect the effect of the wall either. So if we move them on a few 2 feet more on our side, no one is going to
Okay.
complain.
Okay.
Yeah, that'd be perfect. I just wanted to make sure it wasn't gonna
Oh, yeah.
take over, because I don't have much space right there.
Well, and as you know, legally, if it's on your side, you can cut and hack and cut. So
Yeah.
if there's something
Yeah.
that doesn't, you don't like.
I just
know
didn't
you-
want to
yeah.
kill a tree either.
Right, but if it starts to be a problem, just.
No, but he's making a good point.
Yeah.
The further we can put it
Simon,
without encroaching on the,
Yeah.
wet area, the
You also get
better.
more height out of that too, so.
But we also wanted to keep it
Further
up
up we
as
go.
high as we could.
Yeah, no,
so-
I can understand that too.
So
Yeah.
keeping it, so the initial visual effect would be to maximize that.
Sure. So if you're 5 to 7 feet, I think everybody will be happy.
Yeah,
Sounds like.
I agree.
All right, do we need a motion for the amended?
Yes, and do you have a plan that you can leave, Ray?
I will
Yeah.
leave one, and what we can also do is, David has his stamp, so he'll drop
Want me to stamp it for you?
Please.
tap it on you, and you'll have that.
I make a motion to accept the amendment to the site plan.
Second?
Any further discussion from anybody? All right, all those in favor of accepting amended site plan?
That's it, right?
Aye.
Okay. Gentlemen, are all set?
Great,
Okay.
thank you.
Thank you.
What we'll do is David will put his stamp on this, and then we'll get it 5 your way.
How many, do you need, how many times to sign
I
copies?
just need one. Do you want one too? Do you want to sign? Does he have 2 there?
David, do you have
I
2?
have one.
Okay, well, if you.
And the
keep it-
colored one, I have that one too. I don't,
Okay.
did I leave this, I think it's in the car in the back seat.
Okay,
In
we
that
can pull
bag.
this out of the way so you can continue your meeting, and we'll be right over here on the side.
Yeah, and then I'll stamp it.
Okay.
I left it in the car.
Thank you.
Terrific. All right, why don't we do,
Before we proceed, Mr. Chairman, I'm going to suggest that we reorganize by electing Mr. Sandro as our vice chair,
okay.
Mr. Alessandro Mecchia as our vice chair.
Gotcha.
Mecchia, sorry.
I've got a motion to move Mr. Mecchia to vice chair. Do I have a second?
Second?
You're gonna accept it?
All those in favor?
Aye.
You have a choice.
How about you, Mike?
All those opposed? No, you're right.
Right.
You're right. I got ahead of myself. All right.
No problem.
Let's do request a waiver of site plan for
Bye, guys.
117
Thank you.
Millbrook. Thank you.
See you, Chris.
Get that out of the way.
We have a request for a site plan from Kate and Henry Chung, 117 Millbrook Drive. The name of the business is Lingua Links International. The owner of the business is Kate Chung. The business owner's address is 117 Millbrook Drive. The property address is the same. Proposed hours of operation are 9 to 5. There is 1 employee, including the owner. During the first year of business, I will be turning it into a nonprofit and applying for grants. If received, the business will move to an office space to develop language learning software. And she's teaching language online and wants to start out that way and has plans to move when she gets bigger.
Okay, so in essence, a home office, and a business certificate,
Yeah.
nothing really more than that.
Yep.
Anybody have anything they want to add or discuss?
How do we keep track of,
We don't, we can only address what's in front of us tonight.
that's fine.
All right. Sandra, anything else?
Sounds good to me.
George?
No problem.
All right, do I have a motion to approve Lingo Links International at 117 Millbrook?
So moved?
Second?
All those in favor?
Aye.
All set. Okay. Alright. We have a 6:15, but they're not here. Should we do request for waiver of site plan, WOD Blaster, 280 Allen Street?
Yeah, this is Jason Dimitropoulos at 280 Allen Street, East Long Meadow. The name of the business is WOD Blaster. The owner of the business is Jason Dimitropoulos. His address is 280 Allen Street. The property address is 280 Allen Street. Proposed operation, hours of operation, 24 hours a day, internet only. One employee, including the owner. He's selling apparel through an internet website. There is an office in Springfield, Massachusetts.
So what's,
So it's a home office, but he does have an employee?
No, he's the only employee.
Oh, okay.
It's his office at home, his
Okay.
business is in Springfield.
All right, I misunderstood there.
Okay, so he's not
okay.
shipping from this location.
So another home office. Okay.
so to go to the office?
Anybody have any input? Anything they want to add?
Nope.
George?
No, I'll make a motion to approve.
Second?
All those in favor?
Aye.
Okay, that's all set. All right, 6:15 is still not here. You want to do Dearborn Street
Yes,
covenant?
please.
I got to recuse myself for this one,
Okay.
so you get to take over.
What do I do?
That's why we need a vice chair.
I know. Good point. That's right, you're in good hands, Sandra.
Okay.
I have a release of covenant in lieu of bond for Dearborn Street subdivision extension.
You forgot his stamp, I'll do is I'll bring you one in the next day or so.
Yes.
at your office. Thank you.
Thank
Thank
you.
you.
Bye, David, it was good seeing you.
Likewise.
Thank you.
For Dearborn Street extension, there is a covenant on it right now. However, a cash bond in the amount of $62,174.22 has been posted to release that covenant.
And has the Department of Public Works approved that? Agreed with that?
Yeah, they're the ones that gave us the
Okay.
figures.
Any questions?
So basically, they're putting up money.
Yeah.
Exactly.
I like it.
That's
And,
what it is.
and since Board of Public Works has signed off on this, I would make a motion to release the covenant.
Second.
All in favor? Oh,
Aye.
and hold on, any discussion?
No?
No.
All in favor?
Aye.
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 Opposed?
Opposed?
Motion carries 3-0.
3-0.
Okay.
You just all need to sign it.
Can Michael sign this?
No,
Thank you.
his name does not appear.
I had to write the check, that was enough.
Yeah, that's the important thing to sign.
Man, it's not shaking.
Wasn't that much.
Huh?
Well, that wasn't the only one.
Gotta spend money to make money.
Yeah, that's right. We get your own sponsor next week, so. Okay.
All right, I haven't heard from Bill Collins, so I'm not sure whether he's even coming. Can we do the minutes?
Ken, I still have some changes, I'm not quite done.
All right, on which one?
Our last meeting, 16th.
The 16th, all right, so I'll put that aside. I have the minutes of June 18th. Afternoon.
Do we want to start with, go all the way back to June 4th? Start
All
in
right.
chronological order.
Oh, yes, I didn't see the
Oh.
4th. All right, the 4th. These are edits that have already been done.
All right, anybody have any changes or additions to the
No.
June 4th minutes?
Make a motion to approve the minutes, June 4th.
Second?
All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye. June 18th?
18th. those have been edited also.
Anybody have anything to add, change, or delete?
Good.
George, no?
Can I get a motion for June 18th minutes?
I'll make a motion to accept June 18th minutes.
Second?
All those in favor?
Aye.
June 18th is all set.
I have not reviewed July 2nd or the 16th.
16th, July 2nd, I'm going to 16th. item.
Okay,
Okay.
that's two of them. Thank you.
All right, do we want to,
You
we
can,
have some time here? Or do you want to go right to 6:30?
you can do whatever you want. There's no public hearings.
All right, so Mr. LaCory, why don't you step up and,
We're going to take you early.
gentlemen? All right, we need, you realize we're here because we're here to talk about the ramp for the deck. I'm not sure when, but I think it was 2 or 3 months ago, we kind of agreed that you would put the deck on. For safety's sake, you got your zoning variance for the deck in and of itself. So it's our understanding that the ramp has not been put on.
Right.
And we were looking for an explanation as to why and/or when.
Well, I put it out to bid, and it came back, it was a little bit too expensive for what it is. And at the time, I cannot afford it. So if the board can, the board has been good to me. I'm just asking for some more time. I'm gonna try to do it in the springtime, or as soon as I have some funds available, I will do it. I put it out to bid, and I didn't foresee how much it was gonna cost. And I got 3 bids, one 45, one 6,000, one 5,000. And for a ramp,
Okay.
I didn't think it was gonna cost that much. I thought it was gonna cost a couple thousand, and, was willing to do it right away. If somebody could do it for me, a couple thousand.
I think it puts us in a tough spot because there's a safety issue involved, as far as getting egress off of that ramp in case of a fire. So we don't really want to keep this open-ended, so we're kind of looking for a definitive answer. And I hate to, put it to you that way, but I don't know what else we can say as a board or what else we can do as a board. Right now we have no options other than to tell you they can't use a deck, which none of us want to do,
Well,
which doesn't help you or
right,
us.
if
Doesn't help-
if I
doesn't
can
help
use
the
the deck,
situation.
that's less money I'm gonna make, and
I understand.
and
We
it's
all
gonna
understand.
prolong the issue longer.
Right, I think we're all
So
cognizant of that.
I'm asking the board if they could bear with me until April, get some funds available, and springtime I'll do it.
I'll open, anybody else have anything to add other than what I've,
I would make a suggestion. I don't know whether it'll be useful or not, but there is an organization in Springfield called Stavros. Okay, Stavros. They are a nonprofit that is dedicated to helping people live independently.
Mhm.
And they have a network of people who build ramps at cost or a little bit more. Typically, these are for homeowners, not for businesses.
Mhm.
However, they may be able to advise you on someone who specializes in ramps and may be able to give you a lower cost, let's say, than someone
What it
else.
is, yeah.
Okay, it's called the Stavros Center for Independent Living.
I'll take down the full name after, whenever you have a chance to write it down for me. I
Again,
also
again,
looked
I don't-
into an automatic lift,
Yeah.
and that was costly too.
yeah, I would think that would be very costly, matter of fact.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah.
Again, I don't know if they will be able to help you or not, or point you in the right direction,
At
but
least it's a try.
they are an organization that specializes in handicapped accessibility for people who can't afford handicapped accessibility. Because as you know, if you're disabled, you typically don't have a lot of money. So, but they are very much interested in encouraging businesses to make their businesses accessible,
Mhm.
okay? Because the people they represent would love to go to businesses, and a lot of times they can't.
Right, and that's, when I opened the business, I made it handicap accessible.
Sure.
Through the front door. But now this is another issue, and it's
Yeah.
a little burden on me too.
Yeah,
So if I could get some help anywhere, and
I don't know if they can help you or not, but you might want to talk to them.
Yeah,
And you may
absolutely.
be able to get something to go faster. I don't know.
Mhm.
Okay.
But in the meantime, I'm just asking the board to bear with me, and as soon as the funds become available, I will do it.
Ralph, Sandra, you guys got anything like that?
I think April's really extending it. I mean, that's an additional, what, 7 months from now on top of the 3.5 that we've already given you. Um, I would have a hard time going to April. Like you said, it's a safety issue. It's one of those where, as far as adding the deck on, it wasn't something that came in front of the board first. I mean, we would have obviously said that. It's not something we brought on. It's
Right, I mean,
adding
you
the
know,
ramp was
this is,
something that
this
you
is
agreed
after,
to.
right, this is after effect also, you know, I didn't foresee the cost of the lawyer fees, architectural fees, all the times I came in front of you guys. So it just became a lot of extra cost that I didn't see. And now with this additional cost with the ramp, it's,
Well,
I need some more time.
Could we agree to an extension provided that Mr. Liguri designates the deck as not being accessible because of the safety issue?
We can certainly do that. That's gonna hinder him too. I mean,
Well,
if you're
Then
taking
it's
on-
gonna, you know,
I mean,
the deck hasn't been used a lot at all this year.
Okay.
For some reason or another, I don't know. So for me to shut down the deck,
I'm not saying shut it down.
Just, I know what you're saying.
not serve outside?
No,
or-
not,
Okay.
if someone has accessibility issues,
Mhm.
you would inform them that the deck is not accessible because of the safety issue.
Okay.
And they would have to sit inside. There are many restaurants that have one part that's accessible and another
Mhm.
part that's not. It's not the ideal solution. It's not the ideal solution for people who have accessibility issues, but it meets the safety issue without
Compromising.
Without compromising.
Certainly, I could, you know, some handicap come in, I will advise them, you know, that's the situation of, you know, try not to put them out on the deck, you know, but
Well-
most of the time, the handicaps don't go on the deck. But
With that being said, I mean, inside, the last time I was in, it was listed as an exit.
I know, that's what I'm.
And, I
I'm
mean,
having a
if
hard
you're
time with that.
putting a sign over it that says exit, that you can't get off of it.
actually, remember, the sign is covered, Ralph?
Well, like I said, the last time, I mean, I'm
The
going
ro-
back before.
Correct me if I'm wrong, the fire department was looking for that exit.
Mhm.
Fire department was looking for that exit along with the original exit from the front door. Or let me rephrase that, from the side door, for lack of a better term, the parking lot side of it.
The parking lot, there is the exit.
There is an exit.
And there's another exit to the kitchen, which is, we agree not,
That's right,
you know, if
that's
there's a case of a fire, nobody's gonna advise the people to go through the kitchen, that's a dead trap. But the sign, the exit sign on the patio, at one time I was advised to cover it up because that was not exit, you know, in wintertime, we lock that door because the patio is not being used.
If I may, I have a suggestion. What, for argument's sake, I'm not interested in extending to April. I think that's too long. I understand you've got financial constraints that prohibit you from putting it on. What if we compromise? What if you at least gave us a set of stairs, and then we gave you 3 more months?
I can give you a
Is
set of
that a
stairs,
happy
yeah.
compromise?
Yeah, I can give you a set of stairs.
I'm
Plus-
just trying to
plus
find,
plus
I'm
3
trying to find
months.
a line here that we can all live with.
But if he's, that 3 months will bring us out to November,
I know.
so no one's gonna go out there till November.
Right.
But do we want the
From
stairs?
November.
I would like the
December,
stairs put on there now because it
We
is an
want the
emergency
stairs
exit.
now.
Yes.
Okay, stairs now.
Because that buys us a safety parameter. You know, you're gonna have to keep your wheelchair or your handicap people from, you know, you
Going
have to
on
make an
there,
effort. But the stairs would buy us an emergency exit, albeit temporary,
Mm-hmm.
allow you to use your deck, stay in business. It would allow some sense of compromise and/or harmony between us and yourself.
I agree with that. And with the intention that we get a ramp out there eventually.
Correct.
Yeah.
So I'm okay with going 3 months. I'm not okay with going to April. I'm not okay with going to the end of the year. I think we've already been generous. I think we're being generous yet again. I think we're trying to pacify you, pacify this board, and keep all the safety issues that we have to deal with, and keep everybody happy.
I've got a question.
Certainly.
I mean, 3 months will put us out to November. Why bother putting the ramp out in November?
Because it's got to be done. And I understand what you're saying. Nobody's going to go out there in November. But for argument's sake, if somebody wants to go out there and smoke, if there is a fire, there's something.
Is that, okay, all right, I got you.
Actually, the door gets locked right after I cannot use the deck anymore. so the door gets locked.
I don't think you
And this is
Is
a
that- is
prior
that-
issue.
I don't think you can lock that door, to be completely honest with you.
That's why I'm,
That's the issue we're having with the
Right.
ramp to begin with.
Correct.
if that door is a main exit, then you can't lock it, so it has to have a ramp.
That door is not a main exit.
It's not, but it's an emergency access exit.
You have to have, what, 2 or 3?
To the fire department said.
And the one through the
They
kitchen
weren't
is
happy
not
with the
good
one
enough.
through the kitchen.
Yeah, that would,
That's
So in
why
essence,
they were
I was
glad
not-
that you have the other one.
Right, I was not aware of the fire department having
Yeah, I
that
spoke with
issue.
them myself. They weren't thrilled with that at all.
They never said anything to me, but it's okay. You know, like
the
I
stairs
said,
are only a few $100.
yeah, no, the stair.
Right. If you know,
On your spare time, Mike, you can come in.
believe me,
No, I'll do the
and
stairs.
that door is an emergency access. You cannot lock it. That's going to have to be open. So if there is a fire, people have 2 ways to get out of there.
Mhm.
Both signs have to be lit. Again, the stairs, I'm just trying to find a happy compromise. You're telling us you don't have the money. We have an obligation to the town. We have an obligation to the patrons of your restaurant for safety. The fire department has advised us one way. We tend to go with what they advise us because that's what they're good
Yeah,
at.
see, I was never, the fire department never said anything to me. In fact, the fire department at one point asked me to cover that up because the door was locked.
Well, all right, I think we're gonna reverse that. We need to light that and we need to unlock that for safety's sake
Mhm.
for.
Yeah.
So if anybody else has any suggestions or ideas, or if you're not happy with what I've, suggested.
No, I think you guys
I'm
been
trying to
fair to
find
me. And, like I said, I came in front of you guys to find a solution and to get, like I said, I'm gonna do it.
Okay.
It's just I have to find some funds to do it.
Sure.
I
You
never
only-
foresee how much it was gonna cost me.
Yeah, the
Sure.
only other thing I would ask is if the stairs are as close to the door as possible for the time being. And I don't, that's not really a judgment call on my part, but
Do you want me to put them right where the parking lot
I
is?
think that would make the most sense.
Okay.
All right.
Yes, particularly because stairs are not exempt from the setback, whereas a ramp is.
Correct.
So they certainly can't be on the street side, okay?
No, I think,
No,
I want to
yeah.
keep it as simple for
Yeah,
him as I can.
yeah,
If he's only got to put
yeah.
2 or 3 stairs and a railing,
Yeah.
it's going to
Yeah.
cost you a few $100s.
Yeah.
So what does immediately mean?
Within a month?
Yeah, the stairs is,
A month?
I'd go sooner than that.
Two weeks for stairs? Is that reasonable?
That's an easy fix.
2 weeks.
I'm on vacation, so give me some time.
Perfect then.
Hey, Rob, cut it
You're
out.
on vacation.
Oh,
All
God.
right, we'll go 3 weeks.
3 weeks, okay.
Yeah.
All right? I
Yeah,
think
the
we're being
stairs
pretty-
are easy fix. It's,
All right.
yeah.
3
Then
weeks on the
take-
stairs?
Then take a picture and send it to me?
Yeah, good.
All right, 3 weeks on the stairs, 3 months on the ramp?
The ramp,
I-
I'm gonna call and these people here, and we're gonna see what their charge is. If they're just gonna, the cost, material, and a little bit of labor, I'll do it right away, even before 3 months.
Okay, that's.
But if it foresees like $5,000-$6,000, I have to come up with the funds, Michael.
Sure. All right, I think right now we're going to stick with the 3 months for now. If you got to come back in 3 months, I don't know what we'll do
Okay.
then, but
So November 1st?
Yeah.
yes, for the ramp. 3 weeks for the stairs,
Mhm.
3 months for the, and I hate to really be a pain in your behind, but the dumpster enclosure too. I know we've got one
The
side of it
dump-
up.
Right.
But we gotta get the
I'm just waiting for the other part to come in.
Okay,
Yeah.
all right, so that's on your radar, that's, we don't
Oh,
have to
yeah,
worry about
that's,
that?
That's on the radar.
Okay. All right, does anybody else have anything they'd like to add?
No, I think
George?
that's a
I
good
can live
solution
with
to
that.
it.
I mean, obviously, if he's open, he can make money, he spends
Right,
money
no,
on
I don't
the
want
ramp.
to, I don't want to put a damper on your business in any way, shape, or form.
Yeah.
That's not what we're here to do.
I appreciate
Sandro?
that. I mean,
I'm good
it's.
with that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
All right, are you comfortable with what we've suggested, and/or?
I think it's fair.
Okay.
But like I said again, on the 3 months issue, I'm gonna have to come back in front of you guys if there's not enough funds. If they want another $5,000-$6,000 to do it, I need some more time.
He's
More time
yeah,
than
but
the 3 months.
You said completed by November 1st.
I did.
Okay.
Mhm.
So
But
you'd
in
have to come
case.
to us. You'd have to come to us before,
Mhm.
way before,
Yeah. Let us know what's going on.
I mean, I'll wait before.
or just keep us
Just keep you posted.
Keep us posted.
Yes,
Right.
absolutely.
All right?
Okay. Can I suggest that we have Robin write a letter summarizing our agreement tonight
Good
to
idea.
Mr. Leguri?
Mhm.
And after the chairman has a chance to review it, to make sure it says what we think it says, so that you just have something from us in writing, and we'll have something in writing to refer
Yeah.
to that says, this is what we agreed to.
And I think we'll send a copy to the zoning, the building inspector, and the fire department, so everybody knows what we've done, why we've done it,
Right.
That would be
Because
good.
like I said,
That way
I
everybody's
never
in the
heard
loop.
from the fire department come and
Yeah,
and
we
tell
have,
me.
I have.
Because they came to inspect. They
Yep.
come to inspect every year, and they never said anything to me.
Okay,
So, this is first I hear from you.
all right. Well, like I say,
But
everybody will be
I
put
mean,
into the loop.
it is fair that you should have two exit and you don't want them to exit through the
Well,
kitchen.
it's-
We discussed that.
I
It's
don't
no
think
issue.
I don't think it's an issue that, if the place ever burns, I don't think it's an issue you want to deal with.
No,
I think it's the first thing-
absolutely not, but that's
person that
why,
points the finger at is
it's,
Yeah, it's
and I mean, as far as the fire
protecting-
department,
We're protecting everybody.
yeah, why didn't, they came to inspect, they should have said, Patsy, you need to light this up, or
Okay, well, that's, and
That's okay.
honestly, that's, building inspector too
other
as
people are
well,
supposed to
but-
do it, don't do
Does he do
it.
restaurant
Yeah.
inspections? Okay, all right. All right, so everybody walks away with some sense of
Yeah.
accomplishment? Good, that's what we're here to do.
Good.
All right, thank you very
I'm
much.
just hoping that these guys here were willing to work with me. Thank you.
Let's hope so, thank you.
Okay, thank you.
Okay.
Ciao.
See ya.
Thank
Patsy.
you.
Feel free to mention my name when you talk to him, I know.
Absolutely. And I'll give you a hug and a kiss. Thank you. How you feeling?
Good, thank you.
See you guys.
All right,
See ya.
thank you. All right, we're not quite at 6:45, we've got administrative sidewalk requirements. Is that,
That's just something you wanted to talk about?
okay. Did we get a hold of Westfield's?
Yes.
Okay. And did you send it to me? Did I read it?
Yeah.
Probably not.
Westfield has changed their subdivision rules and regs, and it's totally up to the planning board, and there's specific criteria. If there's less than a certain number of homes, and if the sidewalk would be attached to nothing. For example, and I keep using Skyline,
Yep.
4 houses to 5 houses to Allen Street that is never going to have sidewalks.
Right. Well, I don't want to use the term never, but
See
Well-
that?
not in the foreseeable future, I think is a better term.
That's what bothers me.
What's that?
There will be. Maybe this board won't see it. Maybe the next board won't see it. But maybe the board after that'll see it. It costs a hell of a lot more to put sidewalks in later than it does
And I
when
agree.
you're first doing it.
I definitely agree with you, but,
We're going from 30-foot roads to 24.
yeah. But the problem is today, people are busing their kids less and less. Kids are walking more and more.
Yeah, they're
And
spoiled
unfortunately,
rotten.
they're
Yeah.
walking down main roads. And at the rate we're going, I'm afraid we're not gonna see sidewalks on main roads for 20 years. And what I don't wanna do is pick up the paper and read about somebody's son or daughter that was killed because we didn't have sidewalks because there's 3 feet of snow and they had nowhere to go. That's what my concern is. That's what I'm trying to.
And the developer the DPW would measure the distance that the sidewalks would be on, would have in the subdivision.
Right.
Running feet.
And, and provide the planning board with a specific number. The developer would have to give cash in that amount
Right.
to the sidewalk fund.
Has this been presented to the Board of Public Works for their comment? Or
Yes.
It has?
And they're all for it.
I actually brought this.
Not the department, the board?
Mhm.
Okay.
David did. Yeah.
David did, okay, good.
At least David said he did, so.
One,
is that?
one,
He said it would be a good idea. They have a sidewalk fund.
okay, one obscure question, I don't know how the other, was it Westfield you said?
Yes.
Does this. Stormwater systems for the subdivisions are based on the impervious surface in the subdivision, which would include the sidewalks.
I don't know.
Yeah,
Michael, you
and
can
that's,
answer
and
that
that, you
better
know what,
than
I think that's irrelevant, or,
And my
I
question,
think-
my question is, are we?
I think we should keep the same standard as if there were sidewalks there.
I agree,
I
because
completely agree with that.
that way, at some point in the future,
Correct, we're covered.
if the town does put sidewalks in, the stormwater system can still handle them. You see what I'm saying?
I agree.
Because if you downsize the stormwater system because you don't have sidewalks, and you put sidewalks in, you either have to upgrade, particularly in today's regulatory environment, where the town is responsible for stormwater
I
issues.
think that's a good idea.
I think that would need to be written somewhere into the regulations.
Yeah, because that's not gonna make or break the development anyways, because they've gotta do it anyways.
No, I mean, it's not a huge amount, but again,
But
going
it is
back and
something, right,
expanding it
I
in the
agree.
future is gonna be expensive,
I agree.
if at all possible.
I definitely-
It means a slightly larger detention basin or
Which has
whatever.
gotta be put in anyways.
Yeah. You know.
What else? Do you like my ideas or do you not?
I don't know, I'm adamant, and once you get something, start it, finish it, done.
I agree with you.
And I don't know,
Right now they're starting to cut sidewalks in on Parker Street.
yeah, we'll see how long that takes.
that's my point. We'll see how long it takes. It's not gonna do all of Parker Street.
Right, exactly.
So that, now we've got Elm Street that's not done.
If we're
Shaker
gonna
Road's not
mix and
done.
match
Prospect
little,
Street, not done.
little sections, and then we're gonna put curbs about this far away, and the sidewalk's gonna be right there. It's just, I don't know, I like it.
That's what they did on Porter Road.
Yeah, and
Yeah,
it's,
Ford Road, I wasn't.
you know, you get some on
overly
Elm
impressed with
Street,
that.
you shovel that stuff after they plow it 7, 8, 9 times. You get frustrated.
I'm not disagreeing with you, but I think some plan is better than what we have in place now, which is no plan.
You know, we're looking at the subdivision still basically laid out the same, just as if there was
Correct.
walks only.
Correct. Nothing
The
will
walks are
change.
just not installed.
Just a lineal footage, there'll be a monetary, you know, we'll have to, that'll be discussion versus DPW versus a contractor versus a sidewalk. You know, get some input as far as a price per foot, which will change as the economy changes. So let's say a subdivision has 1,000 feet, and let's take a number of $10 a foot.
Yeah.
There's $10,000, or I'm sorry, $100,000. I don't got my math right. That money would go into a sidewalk fund, and Ralph brought up a point last time too. That is in addition to the $75,000 that's allocated at town meeting, not to, you know, to take away from that. This
Replace it,
would
yeah.
be on top of that $75,000. I
Right, I
think
checked
that is
into
important
that.
as well.
I checked into that, and the sidewalk fund is a capital request, and DPW has X number of dollars from 4 years ago in their sidewalk fund. They came before the town at this town meeting and have an additional I think it's $75,000 for another sidewalk fund in the capital 5-year plan.
Okay.
I do know.
75,000 for the next 5 years? I thought it was
Well, that was-
75,000 a year.
That was the plan originally.
The plan
That
was for
was-
75,000
They haven't
per
done it.
year.
Right, so in essence,
Right.
sidewalk development is gonna slow down rather than increase.
It has slowed down.
Yeah.
Well, then
As-
then
All
it's
the more
still.
reason to
been
do
needed
this.
somewhere else.
I
10 years
disagree.
ago, the sidewalk plan, we had sidewalk
Yeah,
plan in the
with that
planning
one
board.
girl, she had
Right, and
really
it
put a.
moved along.
Yeah,
It
every
moved
year.
along, yes.
I remember
Every
seeing
year there
every
were
year.
big projects done.
In the past
Now,
couple-
John is coming in a few minutes. You could talk to him about what the actual sidewalk plan is.
But how much is it, how much more, I mean, you might know this better, Mike. If it's an open piece of property and it's being developed, the subdivision's going in, it's a lot cheaper to put sidewalks in right away as opposed to going down, like say now they're going down Parker Street.
Right, that's expensive.
There's conduit
Expensive. Right, I
everywhere,
understand.
there's sprinkler
Right.
systems, there's pavement.
Right, I think footage, we're gonna lose 1,000 feet, but I don't think we're gonna gain 1,000 feet, if I said that correctly. And when I say
Yeah,
that, the
right.
DPW is not, you're right, to do in a new subdivision is gonna be the most inexpensive, practical way to do it.
There's fences in the way, I mean,
I
they're
understand
gonna
that.
push snow up to the corner, I mean, this way
What
there'll
would
be
be
a
the cutoff
buffer.
in terms of size of subdivision that we'd be looking at?
That would be up to the board to determine.
What
It
does
depends
what does
on.
Westfield use?
Westfield is
They have an over and under, or are they just an under?
5 lots.
5 lots.
5 lots or less?
Mhm.
Anything more requires sidewalks.
What do we have right now?
We don't have anything.
Everything,
Everything.
doesn't matter. If there's 2 lots, you have to put sidewalk
Okay,
in.
frontage?
And what the police department has done in the past 3 or 4 years is required a standing area for the kids
Right.
See,
at the end.
I would rather
so
have that.
there
I like
is there's a big pad. So, hi John. There's
Speak
a
of the
big
devil.
pad at the end of the subdivision so that the kids have a safe place off of
Absolutely.
the roadway
Mhm.
to stand and wait for the bus.
All right, so can we incorporate John into our discussion?
Sure.
Do you wanna jump
You
into our
walked
discussion?
into it, John.
Come on up.
Sidewalk discussion.
So,
Sorry.
just for,
Hold on.
Only take a few minutes.
Hold on. let's-
just for ha-has, the frontage in Residence A, which is where most subdivisions would be put in, is 140 feet.
Right.
Right.
So double that.
So 5 houses, typically, you have houses on both sides because it's cheaper, okay?
If you're lucky.
If you're lucky.
Sidewalks only go down one side.
Yeah, so you're talking 375 feet, basically, of sidewalk on a 5-house subdivision,
I'm
which is
not
pretty
sure I wanna
small.
put a numerical
It could be
limit on
longer than that. You know, if it's all 5 houses, it's 600 and some odd feet. It's not huge amount of the sidewalk,
Right,
okay?
But it only has to go to the center of the cul-de-sac.
Yeah.
right.
On
Yeah.
one side.
What we're talking about is the lack of sidewalks on main roads in town. When we approve subdivisions, we make everybody put sidewalks in. So Westfield has adopted an amendment to their bylaw that says they can take monies from sidewalks and put it into the general sidewalk fund in turn to get sidewalks on main roads, sooner rather than later.
I mean, instead of the subdivision sidewalk?
Instead of the subdivision sidewalks, taking the lineal feet monies, putting them into a general sidewalk fund to get sidewalks where they are needed more sooner. And that's something, we have been contemplating. And I guess I'm asking for your advice, or your input, or what do you think of that?
I don't know, I mean, we've been putting them in, we're on Parker Street right now.
Right,
so-
and I guess what I'm told too is, was $75,000 a year, and I'm told it's $75,000 for the next 5 years from appropriations.
I don't know.
Capital
Or
plan.
capital planning, I'm sorry. Which,
Yeah, and sometimes we do it other ways with Chapter 90 and other ways to get
Okay.
it done, so.
for conversation's sake, how far does $75,000 get us in the term of linear footage? It all depends on what you're up against?
Yeah,
Gotta be
no
de-
clue.
Depending on the job.
Yeah, depends if we have to do some retaining, like when we went around Maple
Right,
State.
that was extensive.
I mean,
That was
those
huge,
walls were
yeah.
expensive and stuff like that, but,
Okay,
we're getting more for the dollar now because we're doing a lot of them. So our guys are actually doing them,
okay,
so we do pretty good there.
okay.
Instead of hiring it out at prevailing wage, we can do it on the per diem, per hour of the guys.
Right.
And
I mean, I think part of our thought is if you're gonna do a subdivision that's out of the way, the main road doesn't have a sidewalk, it's a 5-lot subdivision in the middle of nowhere. Instead of putting walks in there, use that money towards some place in town where the walks were needed.
Yeah, I mean, I don't have a board position on it. I mean, my personal thing
Right.
would be is you would create possibly some interesting discussions on where the money goes.
Money would only go into the sidewalk fund.
Yeah, but, and then where do the
Where the
sidewalks go?
I think that would be a DPW answer.
But I think it would end up being an area of multiple opinions as
I would agree
to
with that.
my subdivision money went into it and then they put the sidewalks on the other end of town, or my money went here and then they did it there. I think I wasn't part of the original, but I've been on for a while. I think the idea behind getting the subdivisions to do it was then as we connected, like Heritage Circle on Porter
Right,
is now connected.
right.
Had we not had Heritage do it because there was no sidewalks there, and at the time, people would have gone, chance of them ever putting sidewalks on Porter Road is like slim to nothing.
Right,
So,
but
you
you,
know,
Senecal Place,
But
you're
Sandra
talking.
Senecal,
said-
Senecal,
yeah,
Senecal Place.
for conversation's sake though, somebody's
Yeah,
probably
see, I
just.
mean, it's right there, and a lot of these spots that are getting developed are, I mean, at least I've seen, are on these main roads. I mean, for me, when you get it, if you got kids, it's totally different. I mean,
I agree.
with a 24-foot spot, 24-foot roads, most of these roads are going in now, that extra 5 feet or 4 feet of sidewalk is huge for a kid in the wintertime.
Well, there's,
Let me ask a really dumb question.
we love those.
Maybe you can
I
answer
love it. I'll answer it.
If it's gonna cost the developer the same amount of money to put the sidewalks in or to not put them in, why would the developer opt to give the money to the town
Yeah.
rather than putting them in? He's not saving himself anything, and his subdivision now doesn't have sidewalks.
You get a great development like Bella Vista. I mean, that is a
You know, that's
beautiful
a very good
development.
point.
Beautiful development.
I think
I'm sure the
in
people
all
in that neighborhood
fairness, I
want
think I would
sidewalk.
make that optional to the developer.
Well, I would make it optional, but I'm wondering why the developer would even want to opt into that.
There's two reasons. One, when you do a subdivision and you put sidewalks in, 9 times out of 10, at least 1, 2, or 3 sections get broken between construction, vehicles, changes. So I'm not, if it was me personally, I'd rather write a check to the town and be done with it. I don't have to call my excavator, I don't have to call my sidewalk guy, I don't have to bring the right fill, I don't have to worry about the guy that's truck is overweighted driving over my new sidewalk, I don't have to worry about it. If I just have to write one check and I don't have to make any phone calls, to me, that's a simpler approach. I'm not saying that's, if I had Bella Vista and I wanted my community to have sidewalks and trees, I may look at it differently.
So in fact, the developer could save money by doing this.
Save some aggravation. I don't know
Well-
if he'd save money, but yes, he would save some money if
If
the scenarios I
there's
just explained to you.
If there's repairs that have to be
Yeah,
done.
if the scenarios I just explained are true. And I'm gonna give you another example. I live on Allen Street. I can't walk to Fenway Golf because I have no sidewalks. Or let me rephrase that.
I live on Hamden Road, and I
You're in the same
bring my kid
boat.
to school every day.
Ralph's in the same boat. George is in the same boat.
Yeah.
George doesn't have sidewalks on his street. So George, who has, let's say, 30 houses on his street,
Yep.
the chances of him seeing sidewalks are probably 0.
Yeah,
It's
yeah.
never gonna happen.
right.
So, at the very least, I think that we should try to, in essence, make the focus of our-
However, if that was a new development, and there was sidewalks, it'd go right to a sidewalk right now.
But you gotta remember how many, we have more existing developments than we do new ones. And, you know, I mean, I don't wanna say you saw miles running out of land, but I think the developable land is getting, it's gonna start slowing down. And I may be getting ahead of myself with that comment, but as the land gets developed, obviously there'll be nothing left to develop. So I guess the factor is time versus practicality versus safety. And I don't have the crystal ball. I can't tell you how long it's gonna take to put sidewalks on all the main roads. I just know as kids, the busing goes up, kids are walking more and more. You know, parents are becoming, you know, the parents aren't able to pick their kids up. The car lines are getting longer and longer. And we've all seen at the school, and the schools get out, there's 100 cars on a car line. It takes, 50 an hour to pick up the kids these days.
Yeah, it does.
For my own sake, I personally would like this board to be able to have the option to say to the developer, in lieu of this, you can make, a cash deposit to the sidewalk fund. It doesn't mean we have to do it, but what I'm saying is if the option is there, we may look at a new development and say,
Doesn't make sense.
DPW says main walkways are gonna be going in within 2 years, so no. Makes sense for you to put them in. I know it's only a 4-house
Just for the
development.
record, DPW doesn't actually say where the sidewalks are going.
Who does?
DPW in conjunction with safety, police safety, and
Base.
school.
Okay.
So
Okay.
it's a three-way situation because we've got school, public safety, and then practicality of
Right.
which brooks are we crossing, what's the topo,
Yeah.
All right,
topo
but if
look
you
like.
had
So-
more monies to
So
do
we
this-
don't, the DPW doesn't go, hey, we're gonna put sidewalks here or put sidewalks there.
Yeah.
We say, hey, we're gonna do some more sidewalk work. Where does it make sense in conjunction with the
Yep.
superintendent and the school committee and public safety?
It certainly
Let's
makes sense.
connect right now, in case it isn't obvious, what we have been doing is connecting as best we can some of the school networks
Right, that makes sense.
and some networks that make a walk route.
Right.
So there's been some pretty good thought into how can we get larger neighborhoods with or without sidewalks, because we're assuming it's a little safer on the side street. They can come through
Right.
some of the side streets to get to a place where they can get onto a sidewalk and get to Mountain View or get to Meadowbrook or get to Maple Shade. So the logic has been public safety, incidents, where can we do crosswalks safely? That all goes into the formula between, Sergeant Bates and
Makes sense.
superintendent.
Makes sense. Right,
So
so
we don't
what-
pick it.
It's just like
I do think it has been a good practice, because had we left it possibly flexible for subdivisions to put them in or not put them in, make monetary contributions or not, we would have a net less number of miles of sidewalk, in my opinion.
And I agree with that.
Because a lot of people probably would have said, I'm not gonna put one in my neighborhood. And then we would have tried to figure out how to get them in existing places. And it's much more expensive
We
to
agree
put
with
a
that.
sidewalk in an existing
Absolutely.
street
Yeah, we've agreed
than
to
it
that.
is for a contractor to just come in and get the sidewalk while they're doing it.
Right.
So,
Yeah.
I mean, right now on Parker Street, we've got a
The
little bit of left
lot,
and right.
yeah.
We might have a little bit of a wall scenario.
Yep.
And we just talked about it at our meeting tonight. We're gonna do it pretty good.
So, Parker Street, do you know how many linear foot? I think I've asked you this already, so you don't know. Is that the
Yeah.
only sidewalk project planned for this year?
I don't know off the top, I really don't
Okay.
know off the top of
Just
my head.
curious.
I know we're spending and doing kind of as we go to make sure that we stay in the numbers, but.
I mean, if the town allocates 75,000 a year for sidewalks.
But they're not. That's the problem. Now we're talking 75,000.
I think in the
for next
last 5 years, we've done quite a bit.
Yeah.
By comparison to
And
the
I'd like to
previous
see
10
that,
or 15.
I'd like to see that momentum kept.
Which,
Personally.
that has been the intention, is
I
to
mean,
see
if-
if we
yeah,
can
if-
go.
I'd
If
like
that
to see
happened-
that gap on Pleasant Street filled in.
That was a part of a discussion.
All right,
Yeah.
so for conversation.
Pleasant to, where on Pleasant?
It goes up the hill as far as Indian,
Oh,
Indian
stops.
Spring.
From
Indian
Pleasant
Spring.
down to
Yep.
Porter,
and then
right?
from Pleasant down to Porter, then you get sidewalks all the way up Porter, all the way over to
Oh,
Main
ooh,
Street.
that's a
Oh,
tough
that's right.
spot.
Yeah,
Yep.
but there's this like gap.
Yeah,
Past
there's-
the church,
We
yeah.
talked about it. The idea,
It's a
the
tough one.
reason it was possibly gapped out is because you can actually go, not that it's the short
Yeah.
distance, but you can actually go to Maple Shade, walk the back through Birchland and get back into
Yeah.
sidewalks.
Yeah.
So there's an alternative route for walkers.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And it gets you to the schools those other ways, so it would be nice, but
I
it's,
never thought of that route.
Anyway.
there is a behind the
that's
school
beside the
route that's
point.
all
So,
sidewalk.
how do we go about writing up language that would make it optional? I hate to say it, but on a case-by-case basis. we'll lay out the parameters that we
I can
discussed
just put
tonight.
the language together and then you just add it to the.
All right, let's put the language together. I'd like to discuss it some more. I think everybody would probably like to.
I'd like to see it in writing.
Yeah, I would
and-
too.
I sent it, I'll resend it to all
Okay.
of you.
Yeah.
It
But
is
let's-
in writing.
If we can kind of do points of all the points that everybody's made, and then we can discuss a little bit further. And then maybe we can, come up with some kind of a point,
And
path
Westfield's the
forward.
only one that I was able to find.
Really?
No other town has changed their requirements.
Is Long Meadow required?
Nick Long Meadow's all
Because I know there's a
sidewalks.
lot of walkers. I mean, they don't have any busing, so. And I know their main roads are pretty much covered.
I would have
think
to
other
look. I
sidewalks are
know
covered,
Long
too.
Meadow doesn't
think-
have any more property left, so.
There was a
Well,
couple
it's-
developments, I gotta remember,
there's a couple
I'll go by
developments.
there
That's not
and
true.
see if there was, but
Yeah, there's a couple developments going
Are there?
in. Yeah, small ones, but.
Subdivision?
Small.
Yeah,
Really?
2 or 3 lots, but.
One of
Oh,
the-
all right, okay.
One of the selectmen wants to sell off the parks.
Really? I think that's gonna fly.
wow.
All
right,
I bet
anyways,
he's
let's,
popular.
Thought we had
I'll check
problems.
Long Meadow.
Mr. Mayberry, you're here to discuss.
Yes, I just came, just as a byproduct of some conversations and some information, was the Garden Industrial Park. I didn't look up anything, I didn't come pre-armed with anything, I just wanted to have an open discussion to catch an opinion of the planning board in some conversation that continues from that I had with Robin, is what is permitted, or how do we permit the application of the uses in the Garden Industrial Park. Now, I know I can read it and it can say that it can be professional in certain things and industrial, but it can't be retail. From Joe Dilk days and way back when the park first went in, it was my recollection, but like I said, I didn't go look at bylaws, I don't even know which one's the exact current one, I didn't want to have a he said, she said over which one's right or wrong. I just wanted to have an open discussion about, it was my understanding, just my personal understanding, that as long as no more than 10% of the floor space was like retail or commercial or business, if 90% was applicable to that district, then there could be upwards to 10% of ancillary retail, commercial, business, or other going on in that same business or in that same building. I know restaurants are excluded, bars are excluded. I mean, I know there's some certain things that are definitely were discussed that, nobody wants a bar next to an industrial site, et cetera. But
I know, I know you looked at that today, did you find the 10%? I know we talked about
No,
25%.
I looked,
but-
I know, I
and I'm
think it's
wondering
absent,
if it
but-
was West Mass, because at the time, West Mass had owned it, and remember how they had their own rules and
I'm pretty
regs?
sure it is. I mean, I'm
And
pretty
I
sure
believe
almost
it-
all the parks that so in disclosure, I'm the chairman of West Mass Development Corporation right now. So I have a little insight into what's going on there, and I'm pretty sure, I didn't research it, but I'm pretty sure in all of our parks, our West Mass language says has to be the primary zoning use with no more than 10%.
Okay.
That would be considered a secondary or ancillary use.
Yeah, because there are people that do
And-
sell things there. I know there's some.
Yeah, and I can remember something, but the more I think about it, I think it's the West Mass rules or
Right, so-
allowances.
so my
'cause
question
the
is,
zoning says
When somebody
no.
calls to move into our industrial park and they call to say, is this a permitted use? If they say that they're going to have will call for some people to come pick up things, or they might sell some t-shirts that are logoed with their company name, or some mugs, or in the case of some miscellaneous items that, their primary business is X, but you can stop and pick something up at that location, where is that line from the perspective of the planning board? Because I think if somebody said, well, are you going to sell anything? Well, yeah, we're gonna sell t-shirts, with our company name on it. Is that now considered retail? And do they get a, no, you can't do that there? And
We had a gentleman here last week.
I was
who
gonna
was
say,
asking
you said no.
Very similar things. He was talking about a dog hotel.
Yep.
And he was also, there was another thing on his agenda too. And so we discussed this at the last meeting. I think we're gonna discuss it further, but I think,
I don't know about a dog hotel, I don't know if
yeah, it was
that's-
a,
Cedarwood.
I don't know if that's retail or
I think it
or
was a combination
industrial
of
or business.
a little bit of everything,
And
commercial, retail, business.
If you remember, some of the other people that have gone into, and it was Mr. Ramito's son, when he did the sound equipment
Stream
and
theater.
everything, one of the things that all of you have said is no cash register. No one can come in and purchase something. And if you want to allow what John is saying, which I agree with you, I think it's the West Mass regulations that are allowing it, you need to change the bylaw that says no retail.
Well,
Industrial Garden Park was started in '62, and that's, I found out when they changed the map, so that's when that district, but anything from '62 on just said exactly what it says in here, that retail is not allowed.
Well, what, as a use,
Right.
retail store is not allowed.
Right.
Convenience store is not allowed.
Right, but retail,
Store.
Yeah, but what about
But-
retail in and of
Retail.
itself?
Well, it does.
any retail would be a
Retail is
store.
not listed as a use. Okay, retail store is listed as a use.
Well,
Okay, meaning that if you're a manufacturing company, okay, and you're maybe selling, as you say, a T-shirt on the side, that's not necessarily a retail store, in my opinion. We had sales office, which is what the sound system people were, okay? And in other words, they could have a showroom, but they couldn't actually sell stuff out of the showroom. They had to go to your house and deliver it, okay? That was my understanding. So
but you've also told other people, you told Mr. Hasty the exact same thing less than
And what was
a
that
month
for?
ago.
It's
A fence
Fencing.
company.
Oh, the fence company, yeah.
Absolutely, you told
Yeah.
him he could not sell anything out of there, that he had to restrict it.
Yeah.
I mean, for argument's sake, I don't know how you guys feel, but I'm not adverse to some retail and industrial. I'm not adverse to it.
I'm not either. Times are tough.
Times are tough. I don't know what there is or is not for empty buildings there, but I think that would open the doors for.
Make sure you understand my position. My position isn't retail stores going into there.
Yeah.
Or a retail business, that's what it is, a
Right,
retail
right.
business. Because I think we do have a fair amount of available land. But I'll use my company. We deliver a lot of parts, we do a lot of service in the field, we ship a lot of things UPS and FedEx. But if somebody needs a forklift part,
They'll come to here.
and they want to come to my building and retrieve a forklift part,
Yeah.
what I'm hearing is I can't sell them a forklift part from my building.
And
And it is certainly less than 10% of my floor
Yeah.
plan. If you come to my building, I have a side entrance with about 10 by 12 feet and a window. And the amount of traffic that comes there wouldn't keep my electricity on for a month, okay? So it's definitely less than 10% of my business, but the strict information that I think I was hearing was you can't sell anything from a business in the Garden Industrial Park.
Yeah, and the irony is people do sell, because we had Old Time Popcorn there. we
Well,
had
and
the
that's what
theater.
makes me think that it was a West Mass, because there's nothing in our bylaw. And all of, like John said, when he first went there, all of that entire development was West Mass. And for the longest time,
Right.
West Mass
And
ruled.
I'm certainly not trying to open it up. I'm just saying, I think I am in violation. And I'm not sure that's was the intention
Yeah, I don't.
to say
I-
So
no
if you
retail
just
whatsoever.
Cleared this up,
And I think
for
a
the
bylaw
industrial
change
garden
might be in place to say no more than 10% of your
Well-
building footage could be. where-
10% scares me because
5%,
there's, well, what I'm
3%, make a
thinking
number,
is, I
but-
mean, there's some huge buildings over there. And if you take 10% of a building like that, you could be talking thousands of square feet.
Well, I don't
I don't know.
And I don't
think
think-
we
See,
should be
I don't-
talking in terms of square footage. I think we should be talking in terms of volume.
Dollar volume,
Dollar
something.
volume.
I think there needs to be something.
Either
well, how do you
way,
control
you can't
dollar
control that
volume? You
either.
can't,
Yeah.
one year to the next.
I would say
But,
the
you know, I look
majority.
at
I
McGill.
would say with the majority of their business, something to that nature, because if you're
If
going
you
to go
want,
and
if
need
you
a
want. And I
part,
just wanted to come and be very
Yeah, sure.
open. I didn't
Yeah,
want to
no,
like
we've
have
already-
a
this is
conversation
already-
with 6
Yeah,
or 8
this
other
is-
people or whatever. I just
Yeah.
wanted to be
we've
very
had this
open.
conversation before.
Come and just say, hey,
Yeah.
I'll look at West Mass bylaws. I can get my hands on them pretty darn
Yeah.
quick. I'll get a copy to you guys if you
I think
want.
that's what
And-
it is.
So for conversations, like, I don't think we want to open the whole industrial zone to complete retail.
No.
That's-
Not at all.
that-
No,
No, that's
but-
why I said you'd have to
I
be
think we-
specific in just
Yeah, I think we
making
need to
it,
find some sort of parameter, like McGill Hose. I go there all the time to buy hose.
right.
It's convenient, it's easy.
But it's not. That's not their primary source of business.
But in the
It's-
current
it's correct.
bylaw,
It's
current
more.
bylaw, I
Of
can't
it's
do
more
it.
as
Yeah.
a service to you
Right.
as a customer.
Right, so I think we need to
Right.
maybe define it
That's
a
all.
little bit more.
just in the current
I mean, that's
lack
what-
of language or the current understanding, nobody would be able to sell anybody
Right.
anything that
Right.
came to their
That certainly
building to
makes
drive
sense.
away with
And
it.
I agree with you. That's extreme, and I don't think that is necessary for that district. I think and I wasn't around when this came in, but I would guess that the main reason for keeping retail out of there is you're trying to separate.
Well, definitely. You need to
You know.
keep, it's good property for lots of things.
For big, yeah, it's the
Industrial,
only,
noisy.
it's the only area
You know,
that
big
the
parking
lots
lots.
are
Yeah.
large.
Right.
So that if the town does get a large manufacturer coming in, looking to come into East Long Meadow,
Yeah.
that is the area that would satisfy them.
Exactly.
And that, according to the research that I
Mm-hmm.
had, that's why that whole area was developed. But like I said, it was West Mass for a very long
And
time,
I mean,
so.
except, there is retail there in the post office, and of course, they're exempt because they're
They're
feds.
totally
But,
exempt.
you know, the point is that they drive a lot of retail traffic. I mean, a lot of people down there every day.
Right.
And that is, to a certain extent, in conflict with all the tractor trailers going back and forth and everything
Yeah,
else.
they're totally exempt.
I know
We-
they're exempt.
We tried.
But, you know,
We, the town
point is,
tried,
if we
but
had more of that kind of operation, it would bring in more of a mix there, and that probably would not be a good idea. But the concept of a company store, of a parts outlet for, you know, your stuff from McGill.
Company store, that's perfect.
A bunch of the other stuff
Yeah,
that's there. I mean,
Yeah.
we've
would
got-
you have to limit it to if you manufactured it there, though? Because that wouldn't work
Well, how
either.
does
I don't-
how does
No,
PIP
I wouldn't say
operate
that.
down there?
No, and the reason I say that is because
PIP does not operate for individuals.
If the
right?
product's
They're
affiliated-
not supposed
the
to.
product should be
If the
affiliated
product
with the
affiliated
business.
with the business, I mean, you can't
That's
go
a
and
better-
sell,
that's a
you know,
better
a
definition.
sandwich on the side, you know, what I mean, it's gotta be affiliated with
So
the
like a
business.
logo or a T-shirt that reflects.
That's-
I'm trying to think of language.
Yeah, we don't give all our Mayberry t-shirts away. We give a fair amount away. But we do
You never
sell
gave me
some-
one.
sell some at cost,
Yeah.
Yeah.
you know, and that would theoretically be,
Yeah.
All right, so
All
it
right, so
would-
why don't we propose some new
affiliated.
language?
Yeah.
and I'll see if I can grab
If you
a
could-
I might
I
be
would
able to
like
grab
that. I
some
would
from a
love to
couple
see that.
parks and
That would
just
help
give you
me.
some sample
See if there's any
language.
other towns that do something
Right.
similar.
That's all, it was just
It'd
an
be-
opening
It'd
of.
be great if we could do this for the special town meeting.
Well, that's what I was thinking. That's why, yeah.
Okay.
Well,
Yeah, I mean,
Gonna have to
you've
hustle.
got
You
a
know.
whole lot of physical therapy places down there
Yep.
that, you know, they sell power bars. I mean, let's face it.
Well, yeah, who cares?
You got medical facilities that are selling
Well,
stuff.
let's be realistic. There's far worse things going on in town than just like what George said, somebody
Oh,
selling a
yeah.
power bar at a,
Well, I know,
Yeah.
but you're gonna have to be very specific, or
I know.
else you're
That's
going to
why-
be,
All right.
it's gonna
I
be
agree.
all over the place.
the conversation tonight, do we want to set a percentage limit on what can be retail?
I don't
At
think-
least a starting point.
I'd
You
like
know?
to see what.
I don't think.
I would like to see what
I
Yeah,
should be able
I
to
think-
scare, I should be able to scare something up this
Okay.
week.
I don't
and
think
get it.
percentage is adequate. I mean, I think it's gotta be something else. Because you can't,
I think
you can't.
that could
What are
be
you
one
gonna do?
factor.
You can't,
I
we
think
can't go in there.
Some of the
audit them.
wording was ancillary and secondary
Yeah.
to their business.
Yeah.
So I think those two words might help
That's
you.
a-
I
Oh,
think-
wait. That's a better
We
word
say
for that.
home office, don't we? Less than
Yes.
20%, 15%, so this would be very similar to that. You're right, there's no
Yeah, but
gauge.
what are we gonna do?
Percentage is
John, I need
just-
I need your books to see if you get 10%.
No, no, I think we'll have to just appreciate that most people are gonna be honest.
Huh.
How would you say, I mean,
Or do we put a square footage per building?
I mean, square footage, I think can work, because even if you get scared by big buildings, I mean, there's not many really big buildings. I mean, there's a couple, but if the person's in
But
there,
any, let's say retail sales that would be done, I mean, whether it be.
ancillary or
what do you-
secondary to the
I mean,
business.
Yeah.
you're looking something, the size of this room would be maximum, like you said, you've got one little window, you hand the part out, you're done. You're not
If I
looking
may.
You could
at.
limit the area.
Your building is what, mostly storage and/or maintenance and/or
Yep, warehousing.
warehousing, so you're
Manufacturing.
not gonna take away from that, you're not gonna make your store, you know, and I don't think
Well-
anybody else, not saying it wouldn't happen, but I think in essence, the bulk of his thing is storage and/or manufacturing, that the retail store would be a very small component of it. And I'm just using him for an instant, for an example, but I think it would be,
So
even
it could-
McGill.
But I think that's
but to
the
give you
whole
a feel
thing,
for
is
it,
you
so
wanna
we're
make sure that.
42,000
company store,
Company store.
yeah,
Yeah,
We're
42,000.
42,000
Yeah.
square feet.
not company
So
store,
if
I
you
thought it
did
was, they're right on the money.
10%, that's
42,200
4,200.
Right.
That's a big chunk of
It
What
is.
if you're just
area.
limited, no larger than, and decide on an area that you
I mean,
want?
what's
Company
McGill
store
Homes? McGill
affiliated
Homes is
with
100 square feet,
products from the
No,
business.
It's more than that.
15 by 20?
That's pretty good size.
It's just bigger.
All right,
It's
maybe
about
20,
that.
maybe 400,
Yeah,
maybe 20 by 20.
400 square feet.
But the buildings.
I don't think you need to
Yeah.
solve it tonight, I just wanted to.
No, I think you're right,
I just
Don.
wanted to have you be thinking,
So I
But
guess
you're right, secondary, ancillary,
If we-
something on
for
that
argument's
to
sake, this-
where, you know
We
what,
could do
this
a
isn't your main
250 square feet,
business. Your
right.
main business
Right,
is
you
your
can just limit it.
manufacturing
You don't
outlet.
have to
Or your
worry about how
service,
large the
whatever.
building
Yeah.
is.
Right.
Whatever
Yeah.
goods and service you normally provide, that's your primary business. It
Right.
can't be retail.
Yeah, so I think we'd
And
better
if
off
you
setting a
happen to
square
sell-
foot rather than a percentage.
Some products on a will call, because I would venture to say almost everybody will do will call. If it's Friday
Yeah.
afternoon, you can't deliver it, but they really want it,
Come and
Sure.
get it,
come and get it.
And
you
that
know?
makes sense.
you know, or we got a driver down or something, you know?
Yeah.
They need the
Instead
part
of
to get
saying,
the
no,
thing
you
going.
can't come and get it.
Yeah,
it's
We'll
against the-
UPS it to you, you get
Right.
it mid next week.
Yeah.
Well, and the bigger thing for, I mean, we want our park full. So
Right.
the bigger thing for me is if somebody's approaching the planning board for a use, and they say,
Makes
we're gonna do
perfect
this, and, oh, no, you're selling something, that's retail, you can't, you won't be allowed, that won't be allowed. I think we just wanna be able to say, listen, sounds like 95% of your business is the business.
Right.
And you are gonna sell logo T-shirts or, what'd you say, some kind of balls or something, or medicine balls or?
Yeah, whatever,
Power
yeah.
bars.
Medicine
I
balls
thought you
or
said Powerball.
I said power bars, but also.
Power bars.
You know, I mean.
medicine balls.
Or
I
savings
Yeah.
Equipment.
mean, maybe
Yeah.
some of the
Yeah.
medical places sell knee braces or
Yeah.
slings or something.
Yeah.
I'm sure they're not getting rich on them, but
No.
No,
I don't think we'd want them to go to a different town
no,
for a minimal amount of that kind of activity.
I agree.
That
But
was
you
the-
also don't want a separate store to open up
Exactly.
next to the medical building that says, hey, we sell
I get
all
it.
these arm
Yeah, I-
braces and everything.
Yeah.
I think with a little bit more discussion, we could probably get something and we could probably get to the town meeting.
I'd agree
I
with
think
that.
that
All
would
right, I'll
make
put
a
some
lot of
Alright,
sense.
I'll find what I
If you
can and
could, I'd
forward it
appreciate
to
that.
Robin.
Yeah.
Great.
Good.
All right.
Thank you very much, John.
No, thank you guys.
Cool.
Okay.
Appreciate it. Good to see you.
Thank you, sir.
Thank you for the input on the sidewalk.
Thank you, John.
Thank you. Robin Owens, thank you.
Yeah, you're
All right, have a good one.
Okay. Couple other things we got. I know Robin put the announcement out there, we're looking for a fifth member to join our group. Have we received any letters at this point?
No, I'm anticipating one, maybe two tomorrow.
Okay, tomorrow is the deadline.
Yes, it is. I mean, you can extend it if you want.
I'm reluctant to do that. I think I want to get this, I don't want to draw this out any longer than we
Mhm.
have to.
One I'm certain will be in. The other one, the gentleman was still contemplating.
Okay. So, I think at the next meeting, we'll have all the information we're gonna have or
Yes.
need, and then whether we want to invite the selectmen at that meeting to try to pick a successor. If there's only one, maybe we can just make a recommendation. I'm not quite sure how the bylaws read, whether we have to do a group thing, and I
It
think.
has to be a joint meeting.
Okay, so why don't we see what we get in for candidates in the next
Oh,
day or
book-
so?
Yeah, get them right away.
If we only get one
first-
candidate, there's no point in, prolonging this. Either we can go to the selectmen, one of their meetings, just so the next meeting we could even possibly have a candidate here, or have our replacement.
Yeah, we can go to their meeting.
Yeah.
All right, okay.
Let's see what comes up in the
I'll
next
see.
day.
Mhm.
Yeah.
Because if there's only one applicant, all
Their
right.
meeting's next,
Well,
is Tuesday. I believe.
Theirs is
Yes.
opposite of
Yeah,
ours.
so I would suggest that we see when applications come in
Agreed.
and hold out the option of extending the application period depending on what we get.
I think that's a good idea.
Okay. I'm reluctant because you say we get one application. We don't know who that person is and whether
You're right. I guess I get a little
we
ahead of
would agree
myself.
that is someone who would be suitable that we would want to recommend.
It would be hard to tell a one person that.
Well,
they're interested. No.
I'd have to vote against somebody.
Oh, I
with
understand.
One
I agree with
application,
you.
but
I agree with you.
I
see your point.
I
The
also
point is-
understand the importance of this board and the importance of getting good, solid people on it like we already have.
I definitely can appreciate your point.
Well, and to be fair to any applicant too, because a special permit, it would have to be
I know.
a vote of every single member that's
I
still
agree.
here,
We want to
so
do it quickly.
it makes it difficult.
But I do want to make sure
All right,
that.
let's see what tomorrow brings,
Yeah.
Yes.
and then we'll go from there. How's
Okay.
that sound?
Sounds
Anybody,
good.
Sounds fair.
anybody else have anything else they'd like to bring up before
I
we
just
adjourn?
wanted to, I sent, you guys, I know I sent you a lot of stuff today
Yeah.
on medical marijuana and the DEA and their raids in, you liked all
I
that.
did, that was
Um,
interesting.
Well, and the more I read, the more I found out. Well, I ended up talking with a DEA agent for this area
Oh.
because it was really,
Yeah.
I wanted to know because Doug Millis is also having a hard time whether or not the police will enforce the laws because it's still against federal law, regardless of what the state does. So the DEA agent, it was very interesting. She said that, yeah, it was a woman. She said that the DEA will not step in unless the dispensary is breaking the state law.
I guess that makes
Okay.
sense. That makes sense.
So they will have to get a complaint, and then they'll do an investigation, and then they step in.
And I did send Robin and Mike a thing from Law of the Land
Yep.
that discussed the fact that towns, this is a different state, but towns are allowed to put reasonable restrictions.
California.
And this is from California, but that they, at least in California, are allowed to, I think it's also true in Massachusetts, but reasonable restrictions. You can't ban them from the town, okay? So you can't require something that can't be found in the town.
Oh, right, I
But
see
if
what
you
you're
want to
Because that's directly against state law.
specifically
That's from the AG.
require certain types of fencing on outdoor facilities
Okay.
for growing, you know, that would not be unconstitutional. It might add cost, but it would not be unconstitutional to do that.
All right. Correct. They can't grow it on site if I'm.
Yeah, no, they can.
They can.
They can.
Okay.
But they
But
have-
it's all, and also, the bylaw that I provided for you, the draft, you can make them go under special permit. Now, another thing that's very interesting is the Chicopee bylaw,
Yeah.
that I modeled the suggestions for this bylaw. They don't have to get, a city does not have to be approved by the AG. So it's going to be interesting. I think it's Athol is, no, it's Ipswich is a town. They have a bylaw that just went before their town meeting, which you can tell by reading it, they modeled after Chicopee also.
And it passed.
I'm not sure. I put a call in
I'll be
to
curious.
to my counterpart in Ipswich,
Mm-hmm.
and I'm waiting to see, and then they'll send it to the AG. And it'll be interesting because it's very restrictive, and whether or not the AG will approve of those specific restrictions. Now, Athol is appealing the AG's decision that saying that, like George just said, that it's forbidden to do, to say, no, you can't have them. Remember how this board was going to do a bylaw and then the AG said, you cannot forbid to have them? Well, Athol is appealing the AG's decision on that, and they say that every municipality should have the right to ban dispensaries from their municipality. So that's in
Interesting.
court right now. I think there's 3, Melrose, Athol,
And how
and
many-
I think another town are
How many are
appealing.
approved?
Who
so
did they
far.
appeal to?
They're appealing to the courts
Okay.
against the AG.
Which court is it? Is it-
It's Suffolk Superior,
Okay,
probably.
Superior.
How many?
Okay.
How many dispensary licenses are going to be approved for Western Mass?
5 per county.
Per county.
35 total though, right?
For Massachusetts?
For Massachusetts.
I'm not sure.
Yeah.
I'm just trying to think how many districts we have in our county.
Oh, a lot.
All right.
And I have a feeling that it's probably going to be all for naught. I can't see them putting a dispensary in East Long Meadow.
No, I think
You know,
it's
probably where the
Springfield,
bigger
Northampton.
populace is. You know, Northampton, Springfield, Holyoke,
Long Meadow.
maybe the cities and not the towns.
You don't think Long Meadow?
Meadow.
Yeah, there's plenty of money there.
So, I don't know, but I just found it very interesting how all of the towns are reacting differently.
Well, they're
And
different
some of them
cultures
are
too.
really getting angry.
Well, there's different
Hydroponic
cultures too.
system in the old package machinery building.
Uh-huh.
Imagine how much you could grow in there.
And they're also having trouble with false IDs too.
Imagine that.
Yeah.
I would have never guessed that.
So
Ten
that's just
acres?
kind of food for thought. I don't think we're anywhere near ready
You
for
only can
special
sell
town
X amount
meeting.
of
No,
money,
no,
though.
no, no, no,
On
no,
this
no,
one.
no.
Okay.
Yeah,
That
let's-
was, let's push that one up. Sorry.
Okay, that's
Yeah.
it.
All right. Does anybody have anything else they'd like to add?
Oh, I'm good.
All right. So I think our next meeting we're going to address the sidewalks a little bit more and
And the
commercial
garden park.
district.
Yeah.
And retail a little bit
The
more.
Industrial garden park, yeah.
I think with a little bit of work we can get something that present that to the town.
I'll
that
try
would be
and do
beneficial to
that.
everybody.
This
When do we have
week.
to have that in by?
October.
I'll have to check. I can't
Okay.
remember.
If
All
we
right.
decided to go with the bylaw that you sent, actually, and we adjusted the industrial garden park for retail, that would take care of my concern that I had as far as the marijuana dispensary. Like I said, I was concerned,
Oh,
well,
yes.
industrial garden park doesn't allow any retail. even if you have a card or whatever and you're walking in and getting
Yeah, I
your
think we would
prescription or
forbid
whatever,
them
that's
going
where
And
you
that's
have
what
to
I
park.
suggested,
Yeah.
the district that you allow
Yeah,
it
that
in.
would be-
All of your industrial districts abut residential, most of them.
Yeah, no, the IGP is the logical, if we're gonna have to put it somewhere, IGP is the right place to put it, I think, but,
Push that off as long as we can.
push that off as long as we can.
Okay,
Yes, I
Um,
agree.
all right, if there's nothing else pending,
Move to adjourn?
Second?
all those in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Beautiful.